The relationship between Chen Zheyuan and Li Qin has always managed to capture the public's attention, not because they make big announcements or openly display their affection, but because of the small details that seem so natural and impossible to ignore. One detail that often captivates fans is the way Zheyuan greets the people around him. If you look closely, through interview footage, collaborations, behind-the-scenes videos, or small moments on set, you can see that he has a very different way of greeting his friends compared to when he is with Li Qin. The difference is subtle, but that is precisely what makes it so special. When Zheyuan greets his friends, especially fellow artists or longtime staff members he knows well, his greetings are very casual and carefree. He usually waves his hand without thinking, smiles broadly, or immediately utters lighthearted, energetic phrases, typical of someone who feels comfortable in a friendly environment. He often pats his friends on the shoulder, makes spontaneous jokes, or laughs loudly even before the conversation begins. His style is truly like that of a young man who is easy to get along with and creates a cheerful atmosphere just by his presence. His gaze is quick, his movements are free, and there is not a hint of awkwardness or caution in the way he interacts. All of this shows his warm personality and ability to get along with anyone. However, when Li Qin appeared, his whole vibe changed. Not in a negative way or that he became a different person, but he became a much softer, more careful, and more attentive version of himself. His expression softened, his smile became more subtle, and his gaze, which usually moved quickly, suddenly lingered a little longer on Li Qin's face. There was a small depth in that eye contact, as if he wanted to make sure that Li Qin felt comfortable, appreciated, and seen. This change did not happen just once or twice. Fans who have followed their journey, from the beginning of their collaboration to now, are very familiar with this pattern. When Li Qin walked closer, Zheyuan's steps automatically slowed down. When Li Qin spoke, he was more focused, as if all the surrounding sounds suddenly diminished. When Li Qin laughed, Zheyuan often smiled unconsciously, even though he was actually engaged in another conversation. The camera repeatedly captured these small moments that seemed unplanned, but precisely because of that, felt so sincere. Chen Zheyuan's tone also changed when he greeted Li Qin. While he usually spoke quickly and enthusiastically when with his friends, with Li Qin his tone softened and became calm. There were no sudden bursts of energy or excessive jokes. He spoke slowly, choosing his words more carefully, as if he didn't want to sound rude or too direct. Even when he simply said a simple greeting like, "Hi," it sounded different, more personal, more private, and contained a warmth that was difficult to hide. It was little things like this that made fans immediately speculate that their relationship was more than just ordinary co-workers. His gestures showed the same thing. When greeting male friends, he would usually just wave, pat them on the shoulder, or nod. But when greeting Li Qin, he tended to use smaller, gentler movements. Sometimes he would bend over slightly, sometimes he would turn his body towards Li Qin, or even open up a little space with his hands as if to make sure Li Qin could pass through safely. Several times, he reflexively held the door open, moved a seat, or adjusted the distance between them so that Li Qin would not feel uncomfortable. Everything was done without words, but it was clearly visible through his attentive body language. Interestingly, this change in attitude did not make the atmosphere stiff. On the contrary, Li Qin responded in the same gentle manner. When Zheyuan greeted her with a small smile, Li Qin replied with an equally warm smile. When Zheyuan looked at her a little longer, Li Qin would usually look down slightly before looking back with a shy smile. as if she was aware of the attention but still enjoying the moment. Interactions like this led many people to assume that they had a relationship that was more than just work partners, even though neither of them ever made any explicit statements about their personal relationship. The chemistry between them also reinforces the difference in the way Zheyuan greets her. When they are in the same frame, the energy created is very different from when Zheyuan is with his friends. Zheyuan appears more responsible, more protective, and more attentive to small details, such as whether Li Qin is comfortable with her sitting position, whether she feels cold, or whether she needs anything. He doesn't just greet her to start a conversation, but greets her as a form of caring. Even when Li Qin just passes behind him, the way Zheyuan turns his head and smiles is like a natural reflex of someone who keeps his feelings to himself. Many fans believe that this change in greeting is an unspoken language of love. They believe that when someone truly likes someone, they cannot hide the small changes in the way they look, talk, and make physical contact. Although there has been no official statement, Zheyuan's gestures towards Li Qin are enough for fans to read the undeniable romantic signals. If you look deeper, this difference in how they greet each other isn't just because of the possible romance between them, but also because of Zheyuan's personality. He is the quiet type when it comes to personal feelings, someone who prefers to show his feelings rather than express them directly. So when he treats Li Qin with a gentleness he doesn't show to anyone else, fans become even more convinced that Li Qin occupies a special place in his life. Many people might say that these gestures are just part of his professionalism or closeness as co-workers. However, when you look at the many consistent moments, the unplanned expressions, and the way Zheyuan is always different when Li Qin is around, it's hard not to see a deeper emotional closeness. Every little moment, from gentle greetings to quiet attentiveness, forms a romantic story that they never say directly, but is clear to anyone who sees it. Ultimately, the difference in how Chen Zheyuan greets his friends and Li Qin is one of the main reasons why fans love their interactions so much. The difference is not just in his gestures, but in his feelings that are not announced with big words, but shown through small, heartwarming details. And it is precisely through these small details that their story feels more real, sweeter, and more captivating.